The big 160-gallon custom fuel cell that we've had built for the new boat. We are getting ready to prep it for primer. So what we're gonna do to give one more layer of protection to this fuel tank rather than just installing it as it is, even though it is marine grade fuel tank, we're gonna use a real high caliber 2-part epoxy primer. We're gonna put several coats on here, but first we're gonna have to clean it real thoroughly. We're gonna use some acetone, and we're gonna wipe this surface down. You're gonna use a real clean cloth and we're gonna wipe it down. We're gonna be using a dual action sander with like 80 grit sandpaper. And you can see right here, there's a little bit of the surface where I've already kind of did a little test area just to kind of show what it looked like. So we're gonna knock the shine off of there, and that gives that primer something to really stick to. So pretty excited about all that. You know, we've been fishing super hard all summer long. I've had a chance to do a little bit of work on the boat, but the wintertime is when we get to do the bulk of our work, and the fuel tank needs to be primed before it can be installed. And we're hoping by the end of the week we'll have all the cross bracing in the floor done, and we will be ready to install this fuel tank. We've been using a dual action sander, and you can see we have now put a surface on this tank. So we've kind of knocked the glossy shine off, and we're in the process. You can see right here, we have started the process of using we're using a 2-part epoxy primer. It's made by Interlux. It's called Interprotect 2000E. That's the box that it comes in, the Interprotect, and it prevents it's for blister prevention and for priming. It's like a barrier coat, if you will. So it's taken the better part of a full day of sanding. Logan did a lot of the detail work. I did a lot of the detail work. Right now the tank is obviously upside down, and we're coating the bottom first. And we're just applying that with just a regular, like a 3/8 nap roller, and we've got a pan there. And we mix that epoxy. You've got to mix it, and then you've got to let it sit for 20 minutes. They call that an induction time. And we're gonna do 5 coats total on this thing. And when we install it in the boat, that'll be another 5 layers of protection against corrosion or moisture. And this tank is 3/16 of an inch thick marine grade aluminum, so thicker than standard already. But you can see now we've started, and it's fairly quick drying. We're gonna try to get a couple coats on today, but you can see now we were using the heat gun this morning. There was a little humidity in the air, and we're using a heat gun to kind of warm up the surface and make sure it's completely dry and clean. But it's coming right along. We've also been working in the boat. I'm gonna show you guys in a few minutes what we've been doing back in the big boat. It's looking really good. We're getting really close to getting ready to install the fuel tank. Getting ready to install the fuel tank, I know y'all saw it last just in the aluminum that it came from the factory. We've got it now primed with 5 coats of epoxy primer. Went over everything really, really nice and tight. Drilled out the holes. We got 3/8 diameter lag bolts we're gonna put in there now, much bigger than what was in there before. And we're getting ready to put this down, these 4 corners, with a real heavy layer of a polyurethane sealant called 5200. Got all the hard points, got all the holes drilled, got the straps underneath it. We've actually already had it dry fit down in the boat and made sure everything fits, and we're fixing to set it down in there permanent. But you can see we've got all 4 corners, and I got my brother over there. What's happening, Mark? Right there, y'all. There she is. That has kind of been a big deal. Looks familiar, you can see it, but now she's in the primer. That is the Interlux, the 2000E. You can see she is now lag bolted to the sides. We got the sealant called 5200 in the seams. These hard points are all bolted and glued in. You can see this bulkhead on our last update. That was just a loose piece of material. You can see now it's glassed in, super heavy. Man, that has been a ton of work. Y'all also remember that last time y'all saw the boat, all we had were like the main stringers, fore and aft, but we did not have all of our rigging pipes. That's a 4-inch diameter pipe glassed in at each petition. You can see how big that diameter is. I can put my whole fist in there. And what's nice about this boat is we got 2. We got one on that side and one on this side. So that's twice as many. The Kenner only has 1. A lot of boats only have 1 rigging tube in the smaller sizes. This one has 2, so we can run all of our cables super, super easy. We've got all of our cross members now. These are all watertight bulkheads all the way from the stern up to the front. You can see there's a whole series of them, and the floor is gonna rest right on top of these. These have been glassed in as well with the biaxial. You can see how they're glassed all around the rigging pipe. Really super heavy duty. I'm pretty sure that most boats are not built this heavy. You can see it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other. Now we get up here to the front, and here's our battery compartment. Now you can see I got a couple older batteries kind of just sitting in here, just kind of mocking up how they're gonna go. But there will actually be a total of 5 batteries on this boat. Those 3 would sit like there, and then 2 more. One would sit there, and then one would sit over here. So you got a big battery bank. Got 5 batteries total. It's gonna be 3 for the trolling motor, and then two for the house. And then we've got going forward, I think last time all we had were the holes drilled for these pipes. You can see now we've got these rigging pipes. Now these are much smaller diameter, only a couple fingers wide, but that is going to be for our trolling motor and nav lights. We'll be able to run up to the front. And again, we got 2, got one on that side, one on that side. Anybody that's ever owned an older boat or re-rigged a boat knows how hard it can be a lot of times to get cables through and rigging through. That's kind of like one of those nightmare things. Until you've done it, you just don't know how difficult it can be. And so I've tried super hard on this boat to be sure there's plenty of access, because I hope to keep this boat and have this boat a very long time. We'll be replacing multiple trolling motors and multiple main engines over the life of this boat, and I'll be the one doing most of that work. So we made sure to make it super easy. Something that this boat has too that the other does not. This whole compartment in here is going to be a freshwater. There'll be a lid on this, and there'll be a pump that draws that water out. And so this boat will have like 25 to 30 gallons of fresh water on board all the time, which will be really, really nice. I actually bring like 2 gallons of fresh water on the boat every day just for washing fish fillets and whatnot. But we will now have like 25 or 30 gallons of fresh water on board. You can even rinse off if you want to. I can rinse reels off. I can rinse fillets off. And then we're actually today going to be doing one more layer of glass. This is a 45-degree biaxial glass. You can see it's got a different, that's a chop strand mat on the bottom and a 45-degree weave biaxial. We're going to be putting one more layer all across the floor of like that section, that one. Basically every panel up here, we're putting one more layer to really just kind of beef things up, and we're filling in our runners. So this boat's got some really nice spray rails that run all the way fore and aft. And up here in this front section where the boat really takes a pounding when we're running offshore, I have filled those runners in with a high strength filler, and then we're gonna cover that in a layer of glass. And that's gonna tie these bulkheads, that bulkhead, the bottom. That'll kind of tie everything together. So I know that didn't take but just a few minutes to kind of go over that, but that's been, gosh, y'all, it's like mid-late December now. Christmas, it's this weekend is Christmas. So it has been a while. We have been running trips. Obviously I got the family to take care of, the kids and the wife and my mom and all that. So there's always things you got to take care of. The boat kind of really doesn't get the majority of my time. It's only when everything else is taken care of I can get to work on it. But I want y'all to know how much I appreciate y'all watching the channel. The subscriptions are really helpful, and the channel's growing. It's all because of y'all. And let me know. Feel free to reach out and comment. I will personally respond to everybody's comment. If you guys have a question about the boat build, want to know something specific, or if you really enjoy some particular content, we are really still trying to grow that channel, trying to get to 1,000. Got the super nice tackle giveaway going on too. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, comment, enter me in the tackle giveaway. So once again, y'all, it's Captain Joe down here in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Thank you so much for tuning into our YouTube channel, Fish Pump TV, and we will catch y'all next time out.